welcome to the news. I am Jennifer Abuba. Presenting the news this evening with me is
Blessing Emme Obona.
Gunmen killed 2 prison officials in Imo State.
Soludo sworn in as Anambra governor.
Federal government holds 600 billion naira electricity subsidy, confirms power tariff hike.
Russia attacked Ukrainian theater, sheltering over 1,000 civilians.
And Canada confirms 2 friendly marches against Nigeria. Remember, you can always log on to www.ozisaradio.com to listen to the news live in any part of the world. You can also follow this news broadcast live on our social media handles on Facebook, Ozisa 96.1 FM, and on YouTube, Ozisa 96.1 FM TV. 2 prison officers were killed yesterday at Umulolo in Okigwe local government area of Imo State. The attack caused panic in the area as people scampered for safety following an explosion at the scene. A security source said the officials were ambushed. The attackers threw dynamite into 2 Hilux vans of the officials and have been rushed. I'll tell it again. The attackers threw dynamite into 2 Hilux vans of the officials, 2 of whom were killed on the spot, while others were wounded and have been rushed to the hospital. It was also gathered that 1 Hilux van was destroyed by the dynamite, while the other was not affected. However, the unaffected van had been returned to the base at the command headquarters in Owerri. The officials took off from Owerri in the morning, and on getting to Okigwe, they were attacked by the gunmen.
The Ministry of Transport, Imo State, says its attention has been drawn to the unpleasant activities of some youths who are no longer students but hide under the umbrella of student unions to run a transport franchise scheme in violation of the laws of the government of Imo State, according to a statement signed by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Ogunsaya Bimbola. The unions under which such youths had to perpetrate the acts include Student Union Government, National Association of Nigerian Students, and National Association of Imo State Students. The ministry describes as regrettable the collection of money from some commercial vehicle drivers by the adult youths who registered them with associations or institutions' names just to evade painting of their vehicles with the Imo State color and the compulsory biodata capturing exercise. Given the above, the Ministry of Transport wishes to state categorically that all commercial vehicles with the inscriptions of tertiary institutions or associations such as Imo State University, Alvan Ikoku Federal College of Education, Federal Polytechnic Nekede, Imo State Polytechnic Umuagu, National Association of Nigerian Students, and National Association of Imo State Students that pick and drop off passengers from one location to another within Owerri municipality and the state at large are bounded by Law Number 3 of 2007 and must paint the state color and biodata of the driver and owner captured accordingly. It also noted that vehicles exempted from the exercise are only those that operate and shuttle strictly within the university campuses. The Ministry of Transport therefore reminded the commercial drivers who had patronized such youths to know that the enforcement team would henceforth impound their vehicles, while those at the verge of making such mistakes were advised to refrain for their own good. It says the overriding reason for this exercise is to guarantee adequate security of the community members of the public and the operators, as well as restore total sanity in the transportation sector. Hence, no public transit vehicle is exempted.
Moving on, Anambra State Governor-elect Professor Chukwuma Soludo has officially been sworn in as the governor of the state. He was sworn in by the state chief judge, Justice Onochie Anyachebula. I'll take that again. He was sworn in by the state chief judge, Justice Onochie Anyachebelu, today at the Anambra State Government House. The event was witnessed by several dignitaries, including the outgoing governor, Chief Willie Obiano, and his wife, Mrs. Ebele Chukwu, and all the 30 members of the Anambra State House of Assembly. As of the time of filing this report, the new governor is already inspecting the guard of honor, his first task as governor of the state. The governor had earlier stated that immediately after the swearing-in, he would proceed to Oboko, a sprawling slum near Onitsha, where he would spend 8 hours working to provide a better living for the people.
Still on Soludo's swearing-in, drama ensued today during the inauguration of Charles Soludo as Anambra State Governor, when Ebelechukwu, wife of ex-Governor Willie Obiano, and Bianca Ojukwu engaged in a clash. The altercation reportedly occurred when Mrs. Obiano went over to Mrs. Ojukwu. It was not clear the exchanges between both women before the situation degenerated, while some reports said Mrs. Obiano started the clash by slapping Mrs. Ojukwu, and some other reports indicate that it was Mrs. Ojukwu who started the fight. Angered by what was said to her that made her slap Mrs. Obiano first, security personnel at the venue quickly intervened and pulled both women apart from each other. The incident, however, did not stop the inauguration ceremony, and new governor went on with his inaugural address, during which he promised to commence work immediately, assuring citizens of the state of good governance. He also thanked stakeholders, his supporters, federal government agencies like the police, and the good people of Anambra State for their roles in his election last November.
The House of Representatives has urged the State of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory to implement the provisions of the Universal Basic Education Commission Act 2004 and the Child Rights Act 2003. The House particularly urged the Minister of the FCT, Mohammed Bello, to ensure full compliance with the provisions of the UBEC Act and the Child Rights Act in the Federal Capital Territory, while urging UBEC to liaise with state governments who have adopted the Child's Rights Act and the UBEC Act for enforcement of the provisions of the laws. This was based on the motion moved by a member of the House, Bamidele Salam, at the plenary today, which was titled "The Need to Reinforce the Provisions of the Compulsory Free Universal Basic Education Act 2004 in the Federal Capital Territory and other parts of the country." Moving the motion, Salam made reference to a report by the Federal Ministry of Education in 2021, which stated that an estimated number of out-of-school children in Nigeria was about 10.1 million, while the United Nations Children's Fund put the number at 13.2 million. The lawmaker said the figure appears to be on the increase, as the Ministry of Education has stated that there had been a more than 3 million increase in the figure from 2020. While citing the provisions of the Section 18 of the 1999 Constitution, Salam stated that Section 15 of the Child's Rights Act provides that every child has a right to free, compulsory, and universal basic education, and it shall be the duty of the government in Nigeria to provide such education.
And now to the business scene. The Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission declares that subsidy on power amounting to about 600 billion naira during some period had now been stopped by the federal government. It also revealed that electricity tariffs were raised in February this year and was quick to, however, state that the tariff payable by some customers in the franchise area of one of the distribution companies was reduced. This came as power generation companies condemned the Nigerian Bulk Electricity Trading Company, stating that the MBET was failing in its obligations in terms of payment for power generated by the GenCos. Speaking at a press briefing in Abuja on the challenges in the power sector and other issues, the chairman, NERC, Sanusi Garba, stated that subsidy on electricity was a policy issue of the federal government that had to be halted. He said the role of the commission is to make a determination of the rates that consumers should pay in order to strike a balance between consumers and investors.
To the foreign scene, reports from Ukraine today claim that Russia had destroyed a theater harboring more than 1,000 people in the besieged southern port city of Mariupol, with the toll yet unknown. Officials posted images showing the once gleaming whitewashed three-story theater hollowed out and ablaze with bricks and scaffolding piled high. The invaders destroyed the drama theater, a place where more than 1,000 people found refuge. Days before the apparent attack, satellite images shared by private company Magza clearly showed the words "Dirty" or "Children" in Russian etched out in the ground on either side of the building. Mariupol Mayor Vadim Boychenko called the attack a horrifying tragedy. According to him, people were hiding there, and some said they were lucky to survive, but unfortunately, not all were lucky. For days, Russian forces have bombarded the city, which once had about 500,000 residents, cutting power, food, and water supplies.
And finally, from the sports scene, Canada women national team have confirmed they will play Nigeria twice in friendly matches in April. The games have been arranged to celebrate the North American ladies' triumph at the 2020 Olympic Games in Tokyo last August. Canada, who are ranked 6th in the world, clinched their first ever gold medal at tournament, seeing off Sweden in a penalty shootout. Nigeria has now reached an agreement to join the Canadians. The first game will take place on 8th April in Vancouver, while the second match will be played 3 days later on 11th April at the Starlight Stadium in Langford.
And that ends the news. On behalf of the editor, Chinwendel Efegadi, and the production team, my colleague has been
Blessing Emme Obonu.
And I'm Jennifer Ogogo. Thanks for listening and do have a blissful evening.